Hey everybody, it is Tuesday evening and I do not have a lot of time, but it is a beautiful evening out and our azaleas are at about as peak as they're going to get. So I do want to take a few minutes to walk around the yard and have a look at some of our azaleas. Maybe we'll have a look at a few other plants while we're walking around, but we're not going to have time for a full-on yard tour today. Hopefully within the next few days we'll be able to get one of those if the weather holds out for us. Alas, I just do not have time tonight. So there you can see two of our more striking and prominent azaleas. These are more or less right outside our kitchen door, so we see these sort of all day long. And of course you can see we'll go over lots of this stuff as it starts to open up as time goes on. Our iris are already starting to go. We've got tons and tons of stuff that's going to be opening up and blooming. But first we're going to walk all the way over to this side of the yard. We're going to have a look at the azalea and the dogwood over here. We looked at these the other day, but they are now in full bloom, so we're going to have a look again. But we can have a quick look. Some pansies. We got some stuff that's going to be going on over here. Peonies. We've got, let's see, an allium is going. Bleeding hearts are starting to bloom. Daylilies are going to be crazy. These purple plants you can see are all money plants. These smaller purple plants are bugleweed or ajuta. We have that as ground cover here and there in the yard. So hydrangeas down here, daylilies galore. Those are all going to be blooming soon. Again, more iris blooming over here. And then we come up into this corner. Of course you can see that dogwood sort of peeking out of the edge of the trees. And then we have this azalea. Now this one still looks like it's in its prime. This one's nice and bright white. The one we were looking at a moment ago had it's starting to get little tinges of brown on the edges. It's passing its prime. That's why I want to try to get these videos while I can. They're really striking when they're full, you know, in their full glory and white like this. They just really pop and stand out. They're beautiful. Once they start to fade, they go quick. So there's our other white azalea. Now let's go around across the top of the yard and we'll see some over where the dogs are going to bark at us. These are all honeysuckle bushes. I cut them way back, like I cut them down, but I never actually cut the stumps down, and just the tops of the trees have grown back over the years. And so we have these sort of stumpy little bushes. All of this is hay-scented fern. I used to actually manage all through here, and it used to be a fern garden. Now it's just kind of all going back to fairly natural, but that is the remnants of my old fern garden. This is another one of our really striking azaleas. No sun shining on this one at the moment, but it is a beautiful azalea. You can even see we've got some honeysuckle coming in up there. This is all honeysuckle bushes, offspring from the ones we were just looking at. They grow like weeds everywhere. You can see all these hosta. These are all, we didn't plant any of these. These are all just basically weeds. I used to mow up here, and I've stopped mowing because of all the hosta that have just come up here. It's sort of like a nursery at this point. Anytime we need hostas to plant somewhere, as long as we don't mind one of these two different types of green ones. We've got this sort of blue-green one that's got the more round and textured leaf, and then we've got the basic, really super standard plain green one. We have so much of that. That stuff grows everywhere, as you can see. So anyway, here's a top side looking down with the sun shining on everything. The gardens are really starting to fill in nicely. Spring is in full whack. Got Squeaker making his way up there. I don't know if you can see him over there, but Squeaker's walking away over there. Japanese maple's coming in looking nice. This Japanese maple is over 20 years old now and is still that dainty. Love that little tree. More big hostas. I meant to show this the other day, but I never got around to it. The clematis growing on the, there's actually a wire screen up there, believe it or not, and the clematis is growing over all that. Squeaker's coming up to say hello. We hear you. So the clematis is looking good. All this back through here is bamboo. I planted that stuff there when we first moved out here. a little over 20 years ago, and now we got bamboo galore. So all the bamboo you're going to see that's laying down in heaps like this is because we've cut it down. We're going to try to shred it up to make like shredded bamboo walkways, but my chipper shredder broke or stopped working, whatever, and I have to take it to the shop, and I have not yet gotten it there yet. So we still have piles of bamboo laying around that we have not yet addressed. But that's why all that bamboo is laying on the ground like that. That's going to be chipped up and shredded here pretty soon. There's Squeaker up there. He'll be following us around for the rest of the video, I'm sure. You coming to say hi again? You just gonna follow us around? Alright, so this is our other azalea, and if you've ever heard that chime in the background of my videos before, you can see there it is right there. It's hanging in that holly tree. It's fairly large, so it makes a pretty booming sound. So these azaleas just look fantastic with the sun shining on them. This is kind of dapple sun. It doesn't have the full sun on it right now. Again, you can see we're kind of late afternoon. Not a ton of sun on anything at the moment. Nothing really up in this corner, just more bamboo. We got more honeysuckle bush growing up there. Not sure who knocked that down. Probably squirrels jumping up on it. This azalea is actually a variegated azalea. You can see it's got the green and white leaves, but all of the flowers, at least most of the flowers, are already done and gone past on this one. So much to talk about over here. We just don't have time for it today. This is a garden that's all full of stuff. My wife spends a lot of time working over here getting this looking good. You coming over to see what we're doing? So we will spend more time over here. We could probably spend half an hour just over in this garden looking at all the different stuff. Different ferns, astilbe, goatbeard, hostas, all sorts of different stuff. But this azalea up here we actually saved from my mother-in-law. It was getting torn out, and it was just a tiny little scraggly little piece of azalea, and we planted it years ago, and it finally recovered and really took off the last few years. And again, this one is past its prime. This is one of the sort of early azaleas, but it's still got a few flowers on it, and you get the idea. And of course you get an idea of the whole rest of the garden, and we're slowly pushing it back closer and closer to the fence, and we're slowly filling it in further and further back there. Most of the areas around here have already been filled in, and if we come down here without stepping on the cat, we have a series of walkways through here. There's plenty of places to walk as we move around back here, but we got micro hostas all over the place back here. You can see these are micro hostas. More astilbe, hostas everywhere, astilbe, hosta, fern, lots and lots of hostas, astilbe, and fern over here. Our property's fairly shady, and this is definitely the shadier side of our already shady yard. So you can see the theme going on here. We've got a fairly shady garden. So this is oak leaf hydrangea we just planted a few years ago. I am fortunate that I am self-employed. I spray deer repellent. And even though we do have issues with deer here in the yard, my deer repellent is very effective, and I can stay on top of keeping all this stuff looking good like this, despite us having deer that move through the yard. They would make an absolute smorgasbord out of all of this stuff if I didn't spray it. So again, you can see this is where we started with the micro hosta bed. I gotta be careful where I step. Like, you can literally see that they come up everywhere. That's a micro hosta right there. That's not, but again, hostas, 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 they come up everywhere. So you got to be careful where you step. But you can see, oh, these are micro hostas. We need to get in here and divide these up, divide these up, and divide those up. That's a nice little clump that could probably be divided. These are different species. So we got all kinds of micro hostas down here. I like that little turtle sitting right there too. So more fern, more hostas, more astilbe. We get down here. These azaleas, I cannot remember the name of them, but this one, that white one down there, this white one here that does not look very good at the moment. This one, no, not this one. That one is pretty right there. But all those other ones I just pointed at, we got last year at the Home Depot. At the end of the year, they were like 75% off, and I don't even remember what we paid for them, but we got a really good price for them. and you can see they look really good. But these two white ones never looked great. And now that I'm looking at them, it's just that the flowers are past, the leaves look fine, the plant's fine. It's just these must be slightly earlier blooming plant, because the flowers are just passing, and that's why it looks sort of done. It's just the flowers, the leaves look fine. This is some of the shredded bamboo that I shredded before our chipper shredder died on me, so that's the beginnings of the pile. But you can see we got stacks of bamboo over there, we got all these stacks of bamboo here that I still need to get to, so we got plenty left to do. So that's about it. That was more of a yard tour than I intended on. I really should have moved a little quicker. I got places to go, things to do this evening, but I did want to get that out there. So look forward to some updates on the pond here pretty soon. I deliberately left that out of this video, but I have made some progress on it, and I will be posting some updates on that here very soon. But if you've been with me for this whole video and you're still watching, I will leave you with one final look at the pond. As it is, it's pretty much done in situ. I'm just filling in the details and planting plants and hiding stuff around the edges and tucking in the wires and all that kind of stuff, but we're pretty much done, and that is how it's going to flow. I'm waiting on some water clarifier right now from Amazon, and we're going to get that last little bit of cloudiness out of there, and hopefully it'll be looking good and all said and done. So Squeaker says thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Everyday Fish Keeping, if you're not already familiar with that one. There's a link to that down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.